Hi, this is Sportmentary joining you from Minneapolis. And we have the Comish from Winnipeg. How you doing?
I feel like crying.
I had a feeling you'd say that. Not too good a game. I guess that will lead in to our week 3 recap of the Battered in Blue. I'll let you get started because I'm never lost for words, but I think they've got me lost for words. So I'll let you kind of get the ball rolling here.
Well, just recap the game briefly.
They lost.
So, they did. I sat down to watch the game, and after the first quarter, I closed the TV, and that's the game.
Well,
No, but
well, can I
seriously,
can I just add something there?
yeah.
You know, remember we were emailing back and forth last night, and we were gonna talk, but the game started. We got busy, and I'm okay. 10 minutes later, I go on to TSN, and the game's over. Seriously, first quarter, I'm like, the game's over.
Well, here's the thing. It was only 10-0 after the first quarter, but you could tell that the Bombers they lack passion, they lack drive, they lack cohesiveness. You name the adjective, they lacked it, especially last night. They came They played better in Montreal than in Edmonton, which it boggles my mind how they could do that. But it was true that nothing could go right for them last night. It didn't matter what. And when it starts with Washington making something out of nothing on a punt return, all that actually ends up going the other way for 7 points, it's shocking and appalling.
I think that's coaching.
Why? He fumbled the ball. Was he?
I mean the whole thing. They're just combobulated.
That's true. The coaching, he doesn't seem to have them ready, and he never seems to have the answers. Even last year, they're 3-7. They finished the season 3-7 last year, and I'm going to go back to this again. They fluked out the Grey Cup appearance, and it's showing now. And when your former assistant defensive captain scores the first touchdown against you, you know it's a sign from God. Joe Mack was playing with the football gods, and he's getting slapped around, and we're paying for it.
Well, we don't agree on a lot.
No,
But
that's true.
but I mean, seriously, 35-0 after half. They've taken the wind out of my sails. I think I've been pretty positive up until this week. I said, give it time, let this gel. It needs some time, but seriously, punch me in the gut, and it's hard to recover from that. Another analogy, and this is a family friendly show, so I gotta watch what I say. But you can punch me in the coconuts, and that's how I feel.
The coconuts. Yes.
Seriously, the wind has been knocked out of me.
I'm thinking if a bomber tried to punch you there, he'd miss. Just like they were missing tackles.
Oh, geez, yeah, no kidding. I really don't know what to say. Last week I was on your case. I said, give it time. These young guys got time to gel. They have played 17% of the games. And
Well,
I look at that as a telling situation because they go to Toronto on the road next week, and that's game 4, and that's add another 5%, and 20% of the games on the road, and they're going to be 0-4. Unless they luck out, they're going to be 0-4.
yeah, you're right. You're right. They'll be on 4 because they're facing Ricky Ray, who made mincemeat of them last year. He just tore, and that was a good defense last year. This year maybe they'll do okay because this defense has never seen Ricky Ray before. They won't know what the Ray has in store for them.
I got a question.
Yes.
How many quarterbacks does the team have in their system?
Well, the Bombers have 4.
Yeah,
So,
they need them all.
well, that's true.
What is this, Buck Pierce? Does he ever play a full game?
No, but that's part of the game plan.
This guy is always hurt, dude. There's something with him.
I agree. By all accounts, he's a stand-up guy and he tries hard. And I heard Doug Brown speaking on the post-game show saying how he's even worked on his conditioning to become more durable. But unfortunately, he has just been cursed with the Jesse Lumsden injury bug. And, that guy could have been one of the greatest running backs in the CFL, but he just couldn't stay healthy. And it looked like an innocent play, too. When Buck got sacked, you could tell the guy did hit him low, and maybe it should have been a penalty, but nonetheless, he just can't bounce back. I saw Anthony Calvillo being picked up off the turf countless number of times, and he bounces back, but
there's some guys that can't and some guys that can.
No, but the one thing I will say is I might even be more positive than you in this case, but maybe it's just because if I'm not positive, I'm going to just go into hibernation until the Jets start playing.
You know what I think's the difference? You have been on the downward spiral with this team from day one.
True, but the thing is, after last night,
you have nowhere to go.
Well, but neither do they. Anything that could go wrong went wrong last game.
What I'm saying is, I had expectations. I had hope. Even last week, I was trying to pick you up. And as I said, I was punched in the gut.
I thought you were punched in the coconut.
My sails have been destroyed. And I have no wind behind my back. And I am at a point, maybe it's not being not positive. I feel like I was the football in the hands of the Blue Bombers yesterday. That's how I feel.
There you go. That's the air coming out of your tire.
Oh,
I'm going to tell you one reason, though.
Coconuts.
I'm going to tell you one reason to be positive.
Go ahead.
Once they lose to Toronto, they will have 4 games at home. They will play against Edmonton again, and Edmonton didn't do anything to win that game. The Bombers did everything to lose it. So there could be a silver lining. And again, we'll always go to BC started at 0-5, and they won the Grey Cup last year. But it was ugly, and I do think they have to do something about their quarterback situation. It's hard to tell. Alex Brink didn't show much yesterday, in my opinion. And when they brought in Billy Elliott, he also, it could be argued he was playing in garbage time. So I don't know what he really has. He has to start a full game. They might be in rebuilding mode, which is my fear. But I'm going to wait till midseason to pull the plug on them.
Okay, I also pose this to you, because we know, Winnipeg sports fans are passionate. Okay, we know that. I'm not just plugging the Winnipeg sports scene, but we have some of the most tuned-in fans, I think, of any city. And what I mean by tuned in is they follow their teams, they're passionate about their teams, and they get involved. They comment on the papers. They really, sometimes a little overboard, but they're tuned in types of people.
I agree with you 100%. Actually, that's shocking.
We're agreeing, but what I'm saying is, game one for the Bombers at home is going to be a big game. The fans are going to come out. They're going to try and cheer the team on. That's what we do. They're a little disgruntled because they're supposed to be in a new home and they're not. All right. So some of those ticket season holders aren't very happy right now, but they're going to cheer on their team. If that team falls down 20-0, 30-0 at half, I'm telling you, it's going to be a mob scene out there.
Here's where I'm right and you're wrong. I have faith in the Blue Bomber fans that they will give the Bombers at least one game at home before they start booing.
I agree they will. But I'm saying if they come out and if they lay an egg,
well, they
stink up the field.
Listen, speaking, they're going to lay an egg. What they've done to this team and what injuries have done to this team has left them less than competitive. And that's what the Edmonton game shows, unless the Edmonton game was just one of those games. Happened to be played on Friday the 13th. Edmonton was at home, and they had just got raked over the coals by only getting 1 point in Saskatchewan the week before. And Edmonton had half a Winnipeg roster, half former Bombers that had something to prove. So I'm gonna reserve judgment on this one. I'm not gonna jump out of the plane like you want to. I got to see how they do in Toronto.
You get it wrong. I'm just saying, it's not like I'm jumping off anything. I'm a fan. I love the team. I'm just saying the difference between me and you is you had no expectations. You had not even did you have any expectations. They were gonna suck. You said it right off the bat. Me, on the other hand, came out saying, give them some time. This is a team that made the Grey Cup last year, right? That was what we're at. What I'm saying is, you are 3 weeks ahead of me in giving them some time. I have been battered. Okay, this week battered me. I need to pull myself up and say, okay, we'll give him a chance. What I'm saying is, mentally, you're a little ahead of me in the game there.
I think I'm always mentally ahead of you.
But what I'm saying about the fans, this is absolutely poor timing, poor planning. I don't know what you want to call it. Not only does a team suck, but they have to suck at their old sucky stadium. All right? No, you laugh. It's quite a difference. If you're gonna have a terrible year, you might as well have a terrible year in a brand new stadium, right? Because at least you got something. Oh, this is a great stadium. This is something to cheer about. Now what? That's all I say.
Well, it sounds to me like you have gone off the tracks. You've gone off the rails, and I want to add a couple things. There you go. That's you going off the track. Last night, you want to feel me more depressed? The Eskimos had 454 yards in offense. 7 total turnovers by the Bombers, 4 of them in the first half. The Bombers are now giving up 39 points a game, and they're only scoring 19 points a game.
You know what I'd like to say is, the CFL is about scoring, but when one team's doing the scoring, the other team isn't. You're right. It's lopsided. Those statistics, they tell it all. As I said, I'm at a loss. And you know me, how often am I at a loss?
Yeah, it's true. And
as I said, let's regroup another week. Let's see what the Blue can come out. And another game on the road. I have to say that 4 flipping games on the road. There's so much I personally can take about this team being on the road. They need something to get momentum, and going into Toronto isn't that momentum. And that is, I hope they can pick themselves up and say they got spanked last night, and let's get some courage and go out there and play a good game. I sure hope that the coaching staff can get them out.
Yeah, well, the good thing is that they only have 4 days or 5 days in between to really think about this one. And I think the way this current Bomber edition is, I don't think most of them care if they win or lose. So maybe they didn't even realize they lost last night. I'm hoping they'll come back with some passion, some fire. But I'm not ready to jump off the bandwagon. I'll stay on it. You have 1 foot off it. It'll be fun to see how they do. Well, I shouldn't say fun. There's nothing fun about watching the Bombers, but it'll be interesting to see how they do on Wednesday. Short work week. Maybe they'll surprise us.
I sure hope that you're right, sir. Even if the game's competitive, nobody wants to see them lose, right? I don't. I hope that they can, come back next week and prove us all wrong and say it was just 1 week out of the deal. I can't say that I'm convinced of that, but hopefully that's something that'll happen. But anyway, I guess, let's just leave it there. Actually, I do have one more point. I don't know if I want to really mention the site, but let's say that I love our Bombers, and then you can add a .com to that after it. Not really sure how you become a member in good standing with them, even get registered. But seriously, have a name called John Bonk 1984. And if that name can't get recognized and registered, I don't know what could.
And no one likes bonking more than you, so.
Yeah.
Let's hope.
No kidding. Anyway, I just thought I'd throw that out there because if there's anybody who loves their Bombers and our Bombers and are on a .com, let me through, please.
All
right. We'll talk during the week. We'll come up with something for next week. Thanks for joining, and have a good week, sir.
Yes, and a thanks to soundj.com for the music.
Thank you, Sanjay. And log on to sportmentary.com and see more of us. Listen to more of us. Good day.